Hi everybody, it's me, Miss Theresa, and I am here to do another movement art lesson with you today. Today we are going to explore precipitation, evaporation, and condensation using some different parts of dance. We'll use shapes, levels, and transitions. So we're going to learn about what all of that means and have a good time moving while we're doing it. But first we need to warm up and get our bodies ready. So please stand. We'll put our feet together, our hands by our sides, eyes and ears to the screen, and get ready to move. All right, let's start our warm up with some nice breaths. So we'll breathe in through our nose. Feeling our chest expand, we can take our arms out and slowly out through our mouths and relaxing. Good, let's take another breath. We'll see if we can get this one a little bit deeper this time, right? So. Good, and exhaling. Good. This time, let's take our arms forward and back instead of to our sides. Here we go, breathing in through our nose. Good. Switch your other arm forward and back. Oh, that made me yawn. Good. Let's breathe in. Scooping our arms up this time. Good. And we'll come all the way to the side. Oh, a nice stretch to the side. Curling forward and rolling up. Again, breathing in. This time when we exhale, we'll go to the side. Curling forward and rolling up. Stretching and breathing like this makes me feel so relaxed and so good. Let's shake out some hands. We're getting our blood flowing through our arms, flowing a little faster, creating a little more energy. Good, through our hands and arms, wiggling those fingers. Wiggle our shoulders, get our blood going. Not too hard, still gentle. Wiggle our heads. Good, gentle, gentle, gentle wiggle. Wiggle our hips. Good, wiggle your legs. Good, wiggle one foot. Wiggle the other foot. Let's do a whole body wiggle. Good, now we'll just pat our heads, pat our cheeks. Good, patting all over down one leg, just waking up our body. Like, good morning. It's morning right now for me. It might not be morning for you. Okay, and just some little rubs. All right, feeling nice and warm. Excellent. Okay, so before we start talking about precipitation and evaporation and condensation, that's so many Asians, we're going to talk about some dance elements, right? So that's a fancy word for like parts of dance. We're going to learn about shapes and transitions and levels today and practice using those together. We'll practice them first and then we'll talk about the science stuff. So let's go ahead and stay standing and we'll talk about shapes, transitions, and levels. All right, so if you have been doing some of these movement art video lessons, I know you know about shapes, but we're going to practice today making a shape and then using a move to transition to another shape. So that's what we'll do. So transition, you might know that one already, but again, that's just another fancy word for meaning change, right? So a transition is a change from one thing to another thing, and we have all kinds of transitions in our lives, right? We always change from like one thing to another thing a lot of times during our day. And this time we're going to transition from one shape to another shape. And the way that we'll transition is to move, okay? So let's just create a shape. You can create the same shape as me if you want. Yeah, why don't we all do the same shape for right now? So I'm just gonna like create a shape using the things that I know. I'll use my arms. I don't know why it's like a monster shape right now, but I guess I'm feeling kind of monster-y today. All right, so I've got some monster arms, a monster head. I've got a monster expression on my face. We don't have to do that. I'm going to use my torso, and I know you might not be able to see my legs down here, but I've got them apart from each other because it's important to use our whole bodies. Okay, so here's my shape. I'm still in strong. Now I'm going to make another shape, and I'll just do it facing the other direction. So like a shape just like this, but I have to do something to get to that shape. So let's transition, and we'll just do like a slow, sustained movement. That means it's like nice and even to move. So this is the transition. We're changing to the other side. That was a transition. So we had shape, transition, and then shape. Good. Let's transition back. All right. So we're going to transition. So we're moving. I'm changing my arms. So this is like just one way that I could transition. I could do another transition that jumps. I could like maybe instead of slow and sustained, it would be a quick percussive movement, right? So that's a move that like hits, right? So from this one, we could, are you guys with me? Y'all doing this with me? Okay. So we'll like bend our knees a little bit because we need to do that when we jump. And switch. So that time we did a different transition, a different move. We jumped from one to another. Good, let's jump back. Okay. All right, let's come back to neutral. So let's see if you can find your own shape. Okay, so we'll see if you guys can do that on your own. So you'll make one shape. Yeah, let's go ahead and make it now. Hold it still and strong. You're checking to see if you're using your head and your arms and your torso and your legs. Okay, now you can find a way, a safe way, to transition from your shape that you're making now into another shape. Okay, so let's start your transition and go. You might do a slow transition. You might do a quick transition. You might do something in between. Okay, and now make your other shape. Okay. Awesome job. Let's come back to neutral. Okay, so we use transitions a lot when we're making dances because we use different things in our dances, and we have to have a way to go from one thing to another, right? That's really important in our dance. We have to have a certain way in any dance to go from one thing to another thing. Now, we're going to add the idea of levels to our transitioning from different shapes, okay? So we'll start with a shape, and we're going to transition to another shape, but this time our shape has to do with a different level. So you know that levels are when we're like up high, when we're in the middle. Oh, we even have like a middle line right here, yeah? And then when we're down low too, right? So we have high levels, middle levels, and low levels, and we can use those in our parts of our dances. Thumbs up if you're with me. Okay, so let's try and make a high level shape, and then we'll do some kind of move to transition to a middle level shape. So we're going to transition through our levels. All right, so let's find a high level shape. You guys can do mine if you want. I don't know. I'm in a weird mood today, so my hands are on my head. All right, so my high level shape is like this. Yeah, and I'm using my legs even though you can't see them right now. All right, now I'm gonna find some kind of transition to get to a middle level shape. Here I go. All right, I did a wiggle move. Oop, gotta make sure I'm using my head. Let's see, I don't know if you can see those hands. Yep, so I went to a middle level shape. Now let's find some kind of transition to get to a low level shape. Okay, maybe it would be a little bouncing move to a low level shape. All right, and let's see if we can find another transition to get to a high level shape. Ready? Here we go. A high level shape. We're all the way back up high. Okay, Great. So this time I want to see if you can try it on your own. So you can start off with a high level shape, and then we'll transition. We'll find some kind of move, some kind of change to get to a middle level shape. So when it's a shape, we have to hold it still and strong, right? And then we'll transition to a low level shape, and then we'll go all the way back to a high level shape. Okay, are you ready? Okay, I will talk you through it, so use your listening ears so you can know what to do. All right, here we go. Make sure you're moving safely. All right, start with your high level shape now. You're holding it still and strong. All right, great job. Now transition to your middle level shape. So you found some way to move to a middle level. Now you're holding your middle level shape still and strong. Next, we'll find some way to transition to a low level shape. All the way low. Okay, so find a move to get to your low level shape. Remember, we're moving safely. Excellent. So you're holding that low level shape still and strong. Now let's find a way to transition all the way up to your high level shape again. Okay, great job. We'll put our feet together, hands by our sides. Why don't you guys take a bow? I will give you a hand. Awesome job with your shapes, transitions, and levels. You guys can have a seat for just a moment. Let's talk a little bit about precipitation, evaporation, and condensation. All right, guys, so it is time to talk about precipitation, evaporation, and condensation. So those are kind of big words, but they're important words because they're all a part of our water cycle. You might already know some things about our water cycle, but let's talk about each one for a minute, and then we're going to explore each one using those three things that we use before: transitions and shapes and levels. Okay, so first, precipitation. Can you guys say precipitation with me? Ready? Here we go. Precipitation. Great. So lots of fancy words today. Precipitation is a fancy word just for water that falls from the earth. From the sky to the earth. So water that falls to the earth, like we're on the earth, from the sky, is called precipitation. So precipitation happens in many different forms. You might know some kinds of, so like what do we call it when water falls from the sky? Rain, right. But we can have different kinds of precipitation. We can have heavy rain, like we've been having some heavy rain lately, yeah. But then we could also have like a drizzle, which is just like a light rain, right? We also could have water coming from different forms. So those are liquid forms, but if it's a frozen form, it's a solid form, it could fall, like we could have snow that falls from the sky, right? So those are ice crystals, or we could have sleet or frozen rain, where it's like a little bit frozen, but a little bit wet too, like kind of liquidy, kind of solid. Then we also have hail, which are like bigger pieces of ice. So those are all different kinds of precipitation. One more time, say it with me. Precipitation. Awesome job. So precipitation is water that falls to the earth from the sky. Awesome. So the next thing is evaporation. Okay, can you guys say evaporation? Evaporation. Okay, so evaporation is when liquid, like water, becomes a gas because it gets heated up. Okay, so like if we had some precipitation, like some rain, oh, I'm doing a precipitation move already. Precipitation, like some rain falling down from the sky, right? It might end up to be like in a puddle or in a lake, or it might run off to a different body of water. But it would be liquid water on the earth, right? but something in the sky might heat up that water. Do you guys know what? You can say it out loud if you know it. The sun. That's right. So the sun could come out up and heat up that water, right? And so the water is not going to stay liquid water anymore. When the sun heats it up, it turns into a gas, right? Like the air that we breathe. Remember when we did some breathing that in our warm-up, right? We were breathing in a gas, right? So the kind of gas that water becomes is called water vapor. Can you say water vapor? Water vapor. We're saying so many things together today. So when a liquid changes into a gas because it gets heated up, that's called evaporation. Yes. So it changes. It's a transition, right? It changes from one thing to another thing. Okay. Thumbs up if you're with me so far. Excellent. So the sun comes out. It heats up the water that's like in a puddle somewhere, right? And so it turns into a gas, but like it doesn't hang around like right where it is, right? When it changes into a gas and it heats up, it's gonna like turn into something different. It expands and it rises. It goes up, okay? So instead of having like a liquid like we have like in a little puddle, right? What would happen, what we would like see with our eyes using our senses is that puddle would like get smaller. And then we could maybe see some steam rising, which like looks a little wavy and kind of weird before. You might have seen that before, right? So we might see some steam rising up a little bit, but once it becomes a gas, it's like invisible, right? Once it becomes water vapor, we can't see it anymore, but it goes up like really high into the sky. So instead of this puddle, it's gonna like go up and it's going to expand like far apart from each other and goes really high. That's called evaporation. One more time with me, say evaporation. Okay, so we have one more part of the water cycle that we're going to talk about today. Another big word, and that is condensation. Can you say condensation with me? Condensation. Okay. So condensation is when a gas, like the water vapor that's up high in the sky, condenses. Condense just means like comes back together or comes together. Yeah? It condenses and it comes back together as a liquid. So it got heated up, it went up high into the sky, right? But it's kind of cool up in the sky, so it's going to condense. And when it condenses, comes back together, all of those little pieces of water might form around like a little specks of dirt and dust, like really tiny ones. And it's going to come together to make something in the sky that we can see with our eyes. Sometimes they look like white and fluffy. Sometimes they look like gray and stormy. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? A cloud, that's right. So when water vapor in the sky cools down and condenses, it becomes a cloud, right? So now it's like little pieces of liquid again, right? And after a while, especially if there's like a lot of liquid, it will precipitate again. So that means it will turn into like rain or sleet or snow and fall down from the sky again. And it goes over and over again. That's what makes it the water cycle. Thumbs up if you're with me. Okay, let's get our wiggles out because you guys have been like sitting for 7 whole minutes. So it's time to get back up onto our feet. And let's explore precipitation, evaporation, and condensation using our moves. All right, so we're standing in neutral. You guys know how to do all of that stuff. Let's start with precipitation. Say it. Precipitation, the water that falls from the earth, from the sky to the earth. I'm having trouble with that today. Okay, so precipitation, let's think about a move, like just for some regular rain, right? We're gonna see if we can start that. We know that it starts in the sky and it falls down to the earth, so we can use our levels that way. Okay, so I'm thinking of like my fingers being the drops of water, right? So I'm going to do precipitation from high level to low level, but I'm just changing the levels of my hands. Let's change the levels of our whole body. So that wiggly kind of feeling that I've got, I'll do a little wiggle. Yeah, so that's how we transition. We change from high to low. All right, starting up here we go. So this is like a shape that we're starting. We're showing precipitation, high level. Now let's make a low level puddle shape. I'm thinking of the puddle being kind of round, so I'm going to get down low like this. And I'm really kind of like bending low with my legs right here. Okay, cool. So we transitioned from high level to low level. We started with shape, transition. Our transition is precipitation to low level. Did you guys get that? Yeah, let's try it again. Okay, so we started up with this kind of shape up here. Precipitation into our puddle shape. Okay, awesome. So our low level puddle shape. So if we wanted to show a different kind of precipitation, like maybe we could have done some heavy rain, we might have found a different move to come, right? So maybe we would have like, that would have been our transition to get down into our puddle shape, right? Or we could also, instead of doing a puddle shape, maybe our water went into a river or something like that. So we could have found a different shape. Lots of different ways to make dances, lots of different options, okay? So that's precipitation. Starts up in the sky, goes down to the earth, water falling down, right? Could have done a snow, some sleet, some hail. You might have some different ideas of what we could do for those. The next thing, let's think about evaporation. That's the one where that liquid that fell from the sky gets heated up by the sun and it becomes a gas. It becomes water vapor. Okay, so if we're a puddle, a low-level puddle, and it gets heated up, we're going to show evaporation by transitioning, heated up even, as we say it, right? So it becomes a gas and it rises and expands. So we could go from low level back to high level again, right? Okay, let's think about how we could do that. So we'll start this time in our puddle shape. And let's think about, we said how we might see the puddle shrinking, getting smaller. So we could do like, that could be part of our transition. We could shrink and get smaller. And then we could rise up. I'm walking my feet together and expand. Expanding means like getting farther apart and getting bigger, taking up more space is expanding. So we could expand up to here, and I'm going to hold that shape. So we said that kind of we can't always see gases, right? But we can just imagine that we're invisible gases expanding high in our atmosphere. All right, let's try that one again. That's evaporation. So the sun is heating us up. Our puddle's going to shrink. And then we become water vapor. We rise. I'm doing my like heel toe up high to my feet together to rise. Since you can't see my feet. And we expand, holding that shape. Awesome, awesome. So that's a way we could show evaporation. Maybe you could think of a different way that we could rise and expand. It wouldn't have to be the same shape, right? You could choose another shape to show. You could choose another move for the transition. But we went shape, puddle shape. Transition is evaporation from low level, evaporating back up to high level. Okay, and our last thing is condensation. Do you guys remember that one? Condensation, we said, when our gas turns back into a liquid, right? So before it comes back to the ground again, it's going to turn into tiny droplets, and all of those droplets form to create a cloud. So let's see, we're up high level. Now clouds are pretty up high too, right? But sometimes clouds can be higher, and sometimes they can be a little bit lower. Like we even have fog, which is like close to the ground, right? So maybe just since we've done like high level and low level, we can have like a middle level cloud. So it's not all the way back to the earth, but it'll be middle level. Okay, so here we are with our gas shape. Okay, then we said condensation is coming back together, right? So maybe we could think of these little droplets. This could be our transition to show condensation. Our droplets come back, and let's make a kind of fluffy cloud. It feels fluffy to me. Okay, we gotta be middle level though. Okay, that's about in the middle. Okay, so it comes to get maybe a little bit more like this. Okay, let's try that again. So we're expanding. We've got our evaporation. We expanded into a gas. Now let's think about little droplets coming back together. And when they all come together, they form a cloud. That's our condensation coming back together. Move. Excellent. And then from our cloud up here, we could go back to precipitation, right? Because a water cycle starts over again. So precipitation, we can come back down to our puddle. You guys got it? Good, there's our puddle. Now, next was evaporation, so our puddle shrinks. Very good, okay. And then it turns into water vapor, so it's going to rise up, transition to high level, and spread out, expanding. Our gas expands. Now, when it cools off again, condensation, and it turns back into little water droplets. And we turn back into a cloud. Do you know the next part? Precipitation. All the way to low level. Evaporation. And Hyoto expands into a gas. Good. And then condensation, turning back into liquid water drops. Awesome. And then one more time, let's go precipitation, and we'll end our dance here. Precipitation coming all the way down. And let's finish our dance in our water puddle, low level. Awesome job, guys. Thanks for joining me today, guys. I hope you had fun learning about precipitation, evaporation, and condensation using shapes and levels and transitions. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.